asleep. I got to about pass out in the chair before I go to bed.
If you want me to, I could fall asleep right here.
I might. I
I have no trouble sleeping.
yawned when I pulled in, sounded like a lion roaring.
I'm not trying to be funny. I really could fall asleep.
Mike's on. Yeah, this is going to go bad quick because I've got some things rolling around my head right now. Look. No. You're going to have to let me win something. I'm going to quit.
I know it's just because you talked to
I tell you what.
We're ready for it. Don't you think? Who's coming? I know.
That's probably
He might, but it's 5:30.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. We've got to have a national anthem.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
roll call, please, ma'am.
Mayor Grimminger.
Here.
Alderwoman Codwell. Alderman Couch.
Here.
Alderman Donovan. Alderman Jokerst.
Here.
Alderman Stupi.
Here.
Alderman Hook.
Here.
Alderman Prince.
Here.
Alderman Rozika. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Over to you. Oh, gosh.
Second.
General, I'm sorry. Man, oh, I didn't know. Approve the agenda.
Second. Move.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, sorry. All right, now Martin.
Okay, I've spoken to you from time to time about Standard & Poor's, the rating agency for municipal credit, and they check with us from how we're getting along, so they usually do it right after we adopt our new budget, so they can see where we stand relative to our carryover. So Sue and I had an interview with them, and honestly, they asked so few questions, I can't do anything but feel like we're going to get a good report as a result of that conversation.
Who is that, just phone deal?
It's a telephone interview. It was brought up to our attention that should the National Park Service proposal pass in Congress, that the proposition involves the acquisition of state property. And in order for that to occur, the state legislature must pass an act to dispose of the property. So I called our Representative Engler, and it turns out they do that once a year, and that if the item comes before them before April, they can get it on next year's adjustment. Obviously, there's no sense in bringing it to them until the Park Service legislation passes, but we have initiated contact with them. The state couldn't do that because it would look too much like lobbying, so I made the call, and they're on board and will be ready to consider it when the time comes. Carla has been preparing and has prepared a application for the pedestrian bridge that would go over 4th Street at the South Gabourey Creek, so we could take out the sidewalk that's inside the abutments now and widen the street. She and I met with the county commission. They will need to be the applicant because the closeout of the Main Street Trail has not occurred yet. The fact that the construction's finished doesn't mean the closeout from the state and federal point of view has occurred.
What side of the bridge is it going to be on?
It's going to be...
If I'm looking at it from this way, it'd be on the left, right?
Left side, yeah,
Okay.
where the sidewalk is.
Okay.
That sidewalk will come out, and it'll go on the other side.
Do you think that it's wise, or we should have an engineer look at the bridge? I mean, there's no sense in widening the bridge. That bridge was built in 1930.
Well, the bridge isn't going to be widened except for the driving thing, but yes, the bridge has been evaluated. It's been evaluated by the state, This will not be attached to the bridge. It'll be freestanding.
Okay.
So we paid a couple of $100 for an engineer to get a concept design and come up with a budget amount so we would know how much we needed to apply for.
Right.
And the county has reaffirmed their commitment to go ahead and make the application. They will be the grant recipient. The money will go through them. We would reimburse them for the local share as it occurs. And so I think it's a good project. We're informed that it's going to be very competitive, that a lot of applications have already been received, so, who knows what happens with that. About 3 times a year, the city administrators in the southeast part of the state get together. The topic of discussion was the changes in the Fair Labor Standards Act, where they raised the amount of money that that allows you to qualify for exempt status as an employee. There are other elements that have to be in place for exemption, but the dollar figure is the one that changed. You also have to have independent decision-making authority and supervise somebody, and there's 3 or 4 others. So that does not have a major impact on us. The standards for the police department are different than they are for regular administrative employees. But we still are going to have to make some adjustments in terms of the use of comp time to comply with this new standard. I don't know, Dave's been working on Crest Lawn, and we continue to work. The plan now is to plant trees along the roadway at 50-foot intervals, and I think maples is what they're coming up with, some kind of maple tree. It was pin oaks. I don't know. It was going to match, could do whatever.
What you said, pin oaks?
That's what I think they came back
Okay,
and said.
pin oaks. Today we held a meeting of the steering committee for the comprehensive plan. It was a really good meeting, I thought. Carla thought. There was some direct input, things about changing the plan, and the steering committee is going to review some of the existing language and recommend changes, and we're looking forward to having a meeting of the Chamber, Industrial Development Council, and the Planning Commission sometime in January to review proposed changes. We'll have a public hearing sometime in February, and
Why does it
move
take
on.
till January to get this? We've been years without this, and we've
Council,
complained that
Planning
this came
Commission
up
sometime
many
in-
times, and now we're gonna have a meeting in January?
Well,
I'm just asking.
we tried to set a date that accommodated all the members' schedules.
Well, all right. I mean, I just don't understand why we have to wait, 4 months to have the next meeting. It's something I think is pretty important. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you wish I still wasn't here.
Pretty much so.
So at the Regional Planning Commission, it turns out that they've had some loan payoffs. So for anybody that might be interested in a bridge loan for business or commercial purposes, generally equipment purchases, they don't do operating loans. They want a collateralized loan. They have about $400,000 available for small business loans, and if anybody's interested, they can call them or call me, and I'll get the information to them. The Missouri Municipal League, who generally holds these meetings like in Jefferson City, and attendance is not very good because people have to travel and get overnight lodging and whatever, has decided to hold regional meetings, and the first of those, it was in the Southeast region, was held. There's a really good presentation on the changes that has been reported to you about the Senate Bill 5 and 572 and how they relate to the operation of the courts and what we have to do in order to comply. And they also talked about, this one guy talked about the heroin addiction problem, how it impacts local law enforcement, and the use of Narcan. I spoke to the chief, gave him the information, and he'll follow up on that. The police department has been vigorously patrolling the community and looking for issues related to our current animal ordinance. We had 2 reports of dogs that qualified as potentially dangerous, either because of their behavior or the number of times they had been found at large. We've started the dangerous animal registry, and we will continue to do that. And obviously, if we act tonight to change that, we will vigorously enforce the new regulations. Finally, the mayor wanted me to bring this to your attention, but the paving of Market Street has created kind of an elevation difference between that parking area up at the intersection, and then there's ponding in there. And we can address that by just kind of fill in, but the parking lot's not in particularly good shape. So I had the contractor give me a price for overlaying the parking lot. And it exceeds my authority or the mayor's authority to spend money. It's about $5,000. And rather than deciding to do it, because he could have decided to do it, he thought we ought to bring that to your attention to see whether you think that's a priority.
So that curbing's going up there too?
The curbing will go up regardless.
Okay.
But if we want to pave it, they're going to hold off on the curbing until they do the overlay.
Well, the paving, because one area of that is completely, we got it torn up anyway.
Well, that's going to be grass.
Huh?
We are closing that access. So they're going to put a curb in front of that and behind it.
Oh, so we only have one way to come in?
Only
and
one
out
way
there
in,
now?
so
Okay.
nobody will be trying to make a turnaround at it.
So are there gonna be parking spots, not?
Parking spots will
added?
stay there. Actually, we'll pick up a couple of parking spots.
Okay, so there's gonna be some added,
Yeah.
okay.
That'd be good.
But the question is, because we have this kind of ponding area, which we could address by patching, whether we want to patch over this or whether we wanted to overlay it.
It's, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty spiderwebbed and broke up. Not any worse than some of the streets, but, you know, I don't know if we want to, while we're doing that and while we're putting the curbing in, I just wanted to get your feedback on if you feel like that's where we want to spend that $5,000 and get that done, or
Patch it for 2 or
wait.
do the whole thing for 5.
Yeah, you could even it. I don't know what it would cost to even that
Seems like-
ponding area out, but
I kind of hate to spend a dime up there. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't, my head may be in the sand, but I've never seen use there. What is the use to read the sign?
I don't know where it came from. I don't know who put it there.
That was gonna be my question. I've never seen anybody use the parking area.
Yeah, I've seen people use it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're there, you're not supposed to stay there because there's a sign up said you can't park here.
We had a problem with people using it as a sales lot and people using it as a
Overnight.
permanent parking lot. And so we limited parking to a couple of hours. And it isn't being abused now. I mean, but I do see cars parked there. Like, you know, meet me, I'll leave my car there and we'll go do whatever we're gonna do.
And what was the reason to get rid of the turnaround?
well, we were. I think the issue was we put those poles up and they were running through the big trucks. From what I gather, were turning around there.
Yeah, how many
knocked
times
one of the
did that
poles
happen?
off. I'm not sure. And they were
It's been
hitting the
4 or
flower
5
beds.
times in the last year.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have to go up and reconstruct the flower
All right.
bed and
Okay.
So, I mean.
So now that should be
That will
eliminated.
stop that.
that was
That should stop that. And I don't know if the big trucks are really the big reason.
The purpose of that was to
of the
provide
parking lot falling
some
apart.
kind of parking for citizens. You know, I'm not sure what the motivation was. I don't think it was designed as a turnaround for a tractor trailer missing.
So if we don't spend $5,000 there, can we just seal what's there? Have Dave go up with his crew and try to seal some cracks and that, or?
I think it's
Past that.
not, yeah, I think it's past that
It
part.
is?
Yeah, it's broke. I don't think it's coming up, but it's, I don't know how many more years it'll stay in place, cracked up like that, but it is, again, it's not,
Anytime you can do a tag-along project with a contractor, it saves you a lot of money, right? You don't have mow in, mow out, and all these other costs. So $5,000 is probably a really good price for what we're hoping for. But my own opinion is we spend $5,000 a lot of places, but at the same time, that's kind of part of the community and it's for everyone. Anybody that wants to utilize it, I'm not opposed to it at all.
I've noticed the majority of the people that park there either are unloading their bicycles and then they ride down Market Street, or they walk down Market Street and then come back up and then they go.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, that's what the majority of the people I see park there use it for.
Do it.
Do it?
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
Okay,
We're gonna bring up that 10th Street there.
Oh, yeah, you want to bring that up? about
Well, I
this?
will now, obviously, because I'm gonna get him back in here to do this. I'm just sitting over there and figure out what we can do with it.
There's a, Buck had brought up, I've been in it on it one way, but he said there's pretty good drop off.
It's
On 10th Street.
It's on kind of the west corner of 10th Street and Market, where the 2.5 inches that they put up, even though they did kind of bring it down, has created a bump. If you're turning out of 10th Street, going east, you don't really notice it. If you're turning onto 10th Street, you don't really notice it from, but anyway, I'll get the contractor to smooth it out.
Just needs a little bit.
Okay. Anything else for Martin?
Thank you, Mark.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Carla?
You have my staff report. Carriage Commission meeting, we have 4 COA applications. 2 were approved administratively. Occupancy and building permits, meetings. So really, I do have an update on 498 South 4th Street. Last month, you had asked me to make contact with the individual who purchased that lot. We're Hotop's property.
It's not purchased yet.
Well, I mean,
Will matter, they gotta deal with us for about $21,000 before they can get the deed.
so I spoke to him regarding satisfying the lien with the city. He stated that he wasn't planning to approach the city until he had received his deed, because there was a waiting period for buying it with back taxes. So he said his intentions at this time were just to maintain the property.
But somebody built a parking lot on
So-
something that without permission on something the city owns and controls. I got a big old problem with that. That needs to come up, take it back to your house and be done.
So I asked him about the gravel lot. He stated that the neighbor next door had put that in, so I contacted the neighbor next door, and I spoke to his wife, and she said that he had allowed them to put that gravel there so that they could park their trailer.
I understand that, but
So basically, this is where they're at, so what you guys want me to have them do,
so,
I mean,
is everybody aware of what we're talking about?
Yeah.
the Hotop
The
property.
Hotop property, the homeowner next door with the rental house,
The,
he buy it? or the-
Mr. Meyer bought it.
Yeah, and his buddy next door to him went on the property that we are in control of and responsible for and put a big crushed stone parking lot in. And he's got trailers and boats and all that stuff sitting there. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with that, but he's got to deal with us. $21,000, we got to negotiate something with him, or he may just surrender. And now his buddy's got his boats over there.
I know.
I'm sorry, it sounds picky, but
I know.
I hate it when people cheat.
I don't see a problem with that at all. No, I just don't.
Cheater.
No.
How will that eventually resolve? It's still have a year that they bought the property on the courthouse.
Didn't buy it.
No, they didn't buy it.
Well, they have the opportunity to buy it. They paid the
Tax.
county, or the taxes, but then they gotta
What
wait a
taxes?
year, is that right, Frank? And before they can get the deed, but they've gotta come through us first for our costs that we incurred in that property.
They can take the deed, we still have arguably, we have a lien on the property. They'll be owners
But
of
we
it.
can't be realistic and think we're gonna get the whole thing.
Well, I told him that you need to come to the
My
Board of
point,
Aldermen and
Rick,
talk to you.
is not, what are we gonna negotiate and end with? My point is, this guy decided that he could just do this. And so if we don't deal with this aggressively, what happens the next time somebody decides?
Why is it a municipal issue? Why isn't it a civil dispute between the property owners?
Well, I think it's, who owns that property now?
Who technically owns that
He
property?
has a beneficial interest of the property because of his purchase at the land sale.
Who owns the property now? We do?
No,
Hotop daughter does?
we never owned it. We just put a lien against it.
All right, I'll give it up, but I just think that was, you know, I don't like it.
Well, I don't like it either, but
I
it's
just,
not a law enforcement issue.
well, it's a city issue. We have, well, never mind, I'll let it go.
No, they've
I'm gonna
made
build a
strides.
parking lot in my neighbor's yard and just start parking my stuff
They
over
made
there.
strides in cleaning that area up and keeping it mowed and everything. So
It was
I'm
being
aware of
mowed.
that. Yeah.
It was being mowed by the other next
I
door
know
neighbor.
that. I know, but they're, okay. It's
Yeah,
a lot
but-
better right now than what it did. I know the gravel doesn't bother me.
Okay. So if your neighbor builds a parking lot in your backyard, you're gonna be okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
All right,
I like my neighbor.
okay,
No problem whatsoever.
all right,
But we don't own it.
all right.
We have the mediating conflict.
Well, there's nobody gonna challenge them now. They could just go and do whatever they want, because there's nobody to challenge them. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll go, move forward, I'm sorry. I just didn't like the thought of driving by and seeing somebody that doesn't have a right to have control of the property, all of a sudden now has control of the property. And I thought that we were the owner. I didn't realize that the Hotep still owned the property. Thank you, Carla, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Does anyone have anything else for me?
And now the rest of the story.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
I'm gonna try to be quiet. I just,
Sandra? Sandra?
Good evening, everyone.
Sandra, how are you?
Just great. You have my report in front of you, and I just wanted to point out a couple of highlights and then add a couple of things. First of all, you have the number of visitors through the Welcome Center, 2606 compared to last year, which is 2,091. So we're up slightly on the month. The month of August, we were down a little bit, particularly due to the weather on Adjournment weekend. We had a smaller number that weekend. But for the year-to-date, we're still up 5% over last year's totals at this time. We're on track to at least meet last year's number and possibly exceed it. We've had a very busy October so far. Walk-in passport sales in September were at 208 adult and 6 students. An additional 303 student passports were issued for school field trips in that month, which was higher than last year. In addition, this September we had 684 group tour visitors versus 267 for last year, so our group tours are picking up quite a bit. The September figure included 381 adults and 303 students. The Tourism Tax Commission met last week. The year-to-date tourism tax collection through the month of September currently stands at $17,244. And that is on the January through September figure. Reminder notices have been sent out as needed. This was also the first Tourism Tax Commission with one of the new members of the Tourism Tax Commission. That's a 5-member board, and that is Jack Ketting. He filled the vacancy recently, left by Bob Mueller when he exited at the end of his term, and the category is active in the tourism industry. Just wanted to touch base on a couple of things besides the events there, which I'll get to. First of all, we've received quite a bit of press and publicity recently in addition to our purchased ads. This publication is called The Bridge. This is a special insert to the Cape Girardeau region, southeast Missouri, and it goes out to all of the households in Cape County and the surrounding counties. And the little flags on here, and I have some extra copies, I won't go over it with you, but the little flags here are examples of where we had coverage for St. Genevieve events or just some coverage. There was actually an excellent article in here about one of our merchants downtown, Sam Conlon, that has Only Child Originals. It says a great place to put down roots, and they did a very nice profile about her business, in particular down there on North Main Street. And in addition to that, we had about 3 pages of coverage in this publication, which is called Antiques and Collectible News. They featured the Rural Heritage Day and the Spirit Reunion as their event of the month, and St. Genevieve is a community of the month for the month of October. And that brings me to our events. We just concluded a very successful Rural Heritage Day weekend that's sponsored by the Lions Club, of course. They were blessed with beautiful weather and a lot of additional activities this year, thanks to the organization group for that with the Lions Club. I haven't gotten official numbers yet back from the Lions Club, but I do know that the number of guests through the Welcome Center was at about 500 for the weekend. We also sponsored at the Welcome Center two activities during the Rural Heritage Day. One was a craft demonstration by Lisa Palmer, who's a local artist that has Neverboard Creations. She was there all day. And also we had a special presentation by a certified quilt appraisal expert. And this was very well attended. She gave a presentation, actually a speech at 2 o'clock at the Welcome Center. And all day long she was talking with people who brought in their family heirloom quilts. Most of these were people from our community, but people also came from around the area who were interested in quilts and vintage items in particular. And I just wanted to say publicly that I really appreciate the efforts of this group and also the Special Roads District on the overlay on Market Street. We've had a lot of really positive comments. The fall is a very busy time for tourists coming down, especially from Jefferson County and St. Louis, and those who hadn't been here in a while, they really have been making remarks about how nice it is to come in Market Street and have it be nice and smooth. And so I just wanted to commend you on that, and also to thank the Special Roads District for that. I also wanted to point out, I'm sure you're probably all the members of the Board of Aldermen are aware, but in case you weren't, the Main Street Inn has recently been purchased, and we're very excited about that development. This will bring some much needed rooms back to our inventory of available rooms, especially in the historic district, but really overall. We've been having a lot of guests recently saying when they're visiting with us at the Welcome Center that they're either staying in Perryville because there was nowhere to stay, or maybe they're staying in Farmington and coming over. And anytime that we get them to stay in St. Genevieve, we like to do that. So we're excited about the possibility of that coming back on board soon. So
How many rooms are in that? I forgot.
I think it's 7 at the Main Street Inn. It's been a while, so I'd have to go back and double check it. And it kind of depends on how they use the rooms.
Nice.
They might decide to use some differently than the previous owners.
I guess it's still as nice as it was, because I know it was very nice.
Oh, it's a beautiful bed and breakfast. It's really a premier property, and in the past, now the new owner is planning to kind of redecorate, rebrand, and reposition it, but it's always been a very, very well-regarded property. Supposedly husbands like it because there's not as much lace and that kind of stuff. So, anyway, I have some of these publications here if anyone is interested in seeing some of the articles and coverage that St. Genevieve has been receiving lately. All right.
Thank you, Sandra.
Sandra, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Can you update us on the tree planting project?
Oh, I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
And over the other side of the levee, the Work Sanctuary
refuge.
project.
Yes, I had that on my notes and I dropped my notes on the way up here. So in the month of November, the gentleman that you all met with from the Fish and Wildlife Service, who was here at maybe the June or July meeting, he's got everything lined up to begin the tree planting portion of the wildlife refuge. This is inside the levee, and Martin and I met with the farmer who has been leasing that property, and he gave us his input on where he would like to be sure, that we leave enough room for the equipment to turn around, and we can use these low spots because that isn't prime ground for him anyway. So I relayed that information back to the gentleman from Fish and Wildlife Service, and they're planning on, they've got a subcontractor that will do the tree planting, but it should start in the month of November. And then the next step is to work on the portion outside the levee, which would be the actual wildlife refuge. We haven't decided on an official title for it, but that's how it will function for us.
I just think that's a very exciting project, both of them.
Yes.
But the one on the other side of the river, my only goal for that project is, we don't have a very good place to see the river,
Yes.
right? We got the ferry landing, which is a little rough, and we got the very rough marina.
Yes.
So I hope that we can have a place for the people to see the river. Drive through and look at their picnic tables for the kid, all that kind of stuff.
Right, and for local residents as well as our out-of-town visitors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra.
Okay, before we leave the staff reports, I had an item on my report about executing documents for police cars. I asked Eric if he would come talk about changeover from cars we have to the cars he's getting.
Good evening. How are you guys? Did anybody have any specific questions about the change?
You're going from sedans.
We're going from sedans to, well, one sedan to an Explorer.
And then
replacing an Explorer with an Explorer. The Explorer was a little bit more, $1,300 or so more. But it's vastly bigger in size as far as the passenger compartment and also the equipment compartment, the trunk area or back hatch area.
Probably the newer cars have insufficient storage to hold all your equipment.
Correct. Especially with we put a trunk tray in the sedans that we have that has all of our siren speakers, our siren and radio head and everything that's back there. So it really limits the size of the trunk. Some people were taking the spare tire out to create more room. But really for the money, looking at resale and really the miles per gallon was not vastly different, 1 mile per hour or 1 mile per gallon different. We believe the resale value will certainly make up the difference, and I think it's just a better all-around car. The Highway Patrol is going to exclusively Explorers and Dodge Chargers, so I certainly think it's a better vehicle for our use. It's all-wheel drive, has higher clearance to the winter, so we have another vehicle that's accessible.
Is that a snow plow one?
Well, we could go with the 3/4 or 1 ton. I think the 1 ton was the issue last time, the 3/4 ton wasn't enough. So I'll look at a 1 ton Explorer for the next purchase.
Sounds good.
If that works. But again, it is a little bit more money, but I think we'll make that back in the back end. And I think it's going to be especially, I'm not short or thin, as some of the Aldermen like to remind me occasionally. And the other officer that's getting the other vehicle is also as tall as me. So I struggle getting in and out of the sedan, just the placement and the engineering on it. The seat for somebody as tall as me is behind the B post, so you end up having to slide in and then go back and then pull yourself out to get out. So, it's just certainly a comfort factor and also an officer safety factor. If he has to get out of the car quickly, we want him to be able to do that. So.
Are you trading the one you got now in?
We're giving mine to
Giving a
the
hand-me-down?
city administrator, and we're
We'll
giving
clear my car surplus.
Brown
and sell it.
Victoria to the fire department for training, and it's also going to be made available to the street department for when they have training. So they have to meet that.
Can we just drive around?
Sure, it's a city vehicle, you're a city employee.
Fire department puts about 10,000 miles on their truck to go to training and certifications.
Well, that'd be great then.
So if we can save gas and
Times or a dozen times a year.
not put wear and tear on a service vehicle,
So-
it just makes sense.
And it'll be
Absolutely.
similarly to ours, so it would be available in they help us with parades and whatnot, so I think it'll make sense.
On all of the cars and stuff, are you going, just the regular cars, you going to all-wheel drive or?
The last several that we bought, all of the sedans are all-wheel drive, all the Explorers are all-wheel drive. We do still have 3 Crown Victorias on the road that are rear-wheel drive, but they're no longer available, so going into the future, we will likely stay with Explorers, assuming we don't have any issues with them. Just again, I think it's a good vehicle, and it's certainly an industry standard.
Yeah.
Chief, are we right now, do we have Narcan in the cars right now?
We do not.
Okay.
And I'm looking into the possibility. One of the aspects is we will be required to do an injection to provide that. Being in town, having an ambulance district in town, a lot of times they're on scene as quickly as we are.
And they do have Narcan.
And they do have Narcan
Okay,
with them. There's also a spray dose that I was just made aware of. But from my experience, the administration of the Narcan is extremely important. If you hit them with the whole dose at one time, they wake up fighting or wake up puking and then fighting. So my fear with the one-shot spray is that would be the result, as opposed to a slow administration of the same amount that the ambulance district does now. It usually brings them out slowly, and they're a little bit more reasonable.
And you said they get there as quick as you do usually?
Usually within a minute.
Okay.
So,
Good deal.
but we are going to look at the possibility and the ins and outs of being able to provide that. I don't think it's going to be a cost prohibitive program. Again, just being certified and making an injection, making sure we're not going to be in any liability for, if they, whatever, if they want to claim that.
It might be nice to have it as backup in case for some reason they couldn't join in fast.
Sometimes a minute is
Is a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
It might, let's check it out.
the problem is so rampant in our community.
And it is limited to opioids. I mean, if somebody overdoses on K2 or some synthetic cocaine or something like that, it's not going to work for that. And if somebody's overdosed, it's hard to tell, unless in the absence of any evidence that says what they used. But I don't think that there's any negative effects if you use it and if it's not an opioid. I don't think
that was going to be my
compounding the issue any. But it's not something that I'm not opposed to. So we'll look at that and look at the.
Do we have to be trained to do this?
That's one of the things I think.
Yeah, sure.
The ambulance district can
The guy that made the
provide the
presentation
training.
said that they do training, he said, but it's about an hour and a half.
Is it like an EpiPen or what?
No, it would be
You actually have
an
to,
actual syringe,
Okay.
and you'd have to draw up the dose. But again, I'm not sure that's doable.
Better than the alternative.
Better than the alternative, yes.
Yep. Thanks, Chief.
Okay,
Thank you,
thanks.
guys.
thank you, Eric.
Public comments? Anyone want to address the board? It's not on the agenda. Okay. Any reports from the board? All right. Regular meeting of October the 13th minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And in closed session.
7 minutes from our closed session.
Motion to approve. That is, second. That's good to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And treasurer's report for September.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2016-37, a resolution of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, stating intent to apply for a 2016 Missouri Department of Conservation grant in the amount of $2,868.64 for the St. Genevieve Fire Department.
I make a motion to approve.
So they're going to get a second read as well?
This resolution is just,
Oh, sorry.
Second,
Tom seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolution 2016-38, resolution of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, stating intent to apply for a grant from the 2016 FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant in the amount not to exceed $80,000 for the St. Genevieve Fire Department.
motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Resolution 2016-39, a resolution supporting the St. Genevieve County application for a grant for the South 4th Street Pedestrian Bridge.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, at this time being 6:09, the Mayor and Board of Aldermen the City of St. Genevieve will hold a public hearing to consider request for a special use permit to operate a winery tasting room at 39 and 57 North Main Street, located in a C2 Central Business District.
seems like everyone's in favor of this. Is Carla still here? Yeah, everything was fine with this, wasn't it, Carla? Yeah.
Yes, the planning commission, the Lewis's came, the planning commission meeting we had, and it was 6 yes, 0 no, and 2 absent.
Is there any feedback from the church right next door?
I'm sorry,
Is there any feedback from the church that is right next door to them?
I've heard nothing from them. A notice was mailed.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Go ahead, it's just a hearing.
Oh, I make a motion to approve the hearing.
Anybody else like to say anything before the hearing goes?
I think it's fine.
It'd be nice to have some businesses farther up.
6:10? Yeah, the applicants are here.
Yeah, might as well let up, come on up.
Okay.
You need to introduce yourself.
I'm Kenneth Lewis, my wife Patty Lewis, and we are Lucy Winery. We've been in business down in the Ransom West area since 2011, and been trying to get over here for a couple of years, so we're here. We live out on Siebert Road by Dennis Huck, so.
That's great.
Great.
So an experienced winemaker.
Yes.
Yeah. We're small
Knows
winery.
what they're getting into.
We do.
It's wonderful that part of Main Street, we're going a little farther up. You know, I really appreciate that you've decided to come to our town.
What is it that motivated you to want to come to St. Genevieve?
The town is very pretty. We like it. We like the area and family. We're from Illinois originally. I have a daughter in St. Louis. We have family I have a sister right across the river in Chester, so closer to family. We were about 7 hours away. Here we're 1.
Great.
Yeah, and grandkids, 7 grandkids. You're missing out on a lot of things. You know how that is.
Right.
Well, good luck.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great to have you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it being 6:12, we'll close the hearing, and if somebody wants to go ahead and make a motion now.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now in business.
Okay, old business, bill number 4132, second reading.
An ordinance amending the City of St. Genevieve Code of Ordinances, Chapter 205, Animals, Section 205.010, Definitions, Section 205.085, Dangerous Animals, and Section 205.130, Redemption, Adoption, as set forth below.
Move approval.
Second. Roll call.
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4132 now becomes ordinance 4068.
Thank you.
I have a quick question about this. If we had somebody that's received prior tickets or recent tickets for an animal at large, will this now enhance that to a second violation or a third violation automatically, or is it going to start over at
Starting
first
over at
violation?
0 for everyone involved, or do we try to reach back? Reaching back doesn't seem right to me
Well, we've had one of the animals that Mr. Toma mentioned that's now on the dangerous or potentially dangerous animal will be the 5th time that it's been at large, which would enhance the
under
fine
this, you have the
under the
opportunity
new.
to fine him $500.
The city prosecutor will treat that as countable.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
And I should point out that the next event would require trigger declaring that dog a dangerous animal. All those draconian requirements would kick in.
Okay, new business, bill number 4133, first reading.
An ordinance calling for the general election of officers of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri to be held April 4th, of 2017, and providing notice to the general public.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, bill number 4134, first reading.
An ordinance approving a bid proposal from William Noby and Company, St. Genevieve, Missouri, for the purchase of 3 snowplows and 1 spreader in an amount not to exceed $27,100 for the St. Genevieve Street Department.
I'm assuming we got other bids, or is this the only bid that we had, or?
3 bids.
Okay.
And this is budgeted expense.
Budget expense.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We need to get that right away, don't we?
Yeah, second reading.
Let's go, second reading.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Joe? All in favor, second reading of bill number 4134?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 4134.
An ordinance approving a bid proposal from William Noby and Company, St. Genevieve, Missouri, for the purchase of 3 snowplows and 1 spreader in an amount not to exceed $27,100 for the St. Genevieve Street Department.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4134 now becomes ordinance 4069.
Okay, thank you. Under other business, Joe and Mary Claire Rozier are appealing the decision of the St. Genevieve Heritage Commission to replace the existing 6 casement windows with vinyl windows at 282 Market Street.
That's blue vinyl siding, right?
That's correct. So I'll be entering into the St. Genevieve Municipal Code, Joe and Mary Claire's letter of appeal, and my staff report and the history of his requests. And then the record of vote to deny was 5 yes, 0 no, and 0 absent from the Heritage Commission.
The vinyl sided building, having vinyl windows, doesn't seem to be much of a attack on our historic structures.
Well, the only question I have, and it's merely a question, we've always stated as long as you're not changing the structure of the building or changing the design of the windows, we didn't have a problem with it.
Like in kind, right?
Right. And the only thing I see that is questionable is the fact that you're wanting to go in with, where'd it go? You're wanting to go in with sliding windows. Is that because that's going to be give you the closest in appearance, because it's only 3 slats? You can't really have a window opening. You know what I'm saying? It would have to go to a 4.
And honestly, and first of all, I appreciate, Carla's patience with me as I,
Would you like to step
I'm
up?
not coming up.
Come on, come on.
Be quiet or come up.
Thanks. The building in question, since I retired a few years ago, I have a commitment, a recommitment to downtown. I'm the custodian at the DeBerg Center, and I also have bought a number of properties, primarily because I believe in downtown St. Genevieve. The buildings that I have, 2.5 years ago, on 18 South 3rd, I came to Carla's predecessor and I said, the windows are rotting in the back. What do I need to do to replace them like the ones in the front? And she said, just write it on a piece of paper and it's done. And so those were sliding windows. And so I did it, and I looked at the building on 275 Jefferson at the corner of 3rd and Jefferson, and those are all vinyl windows. It's a little greenhouse, and they're all sliding windows. And also on the building in question, 282, there have been replacement windows, and they're sliding windows. The patio doors are vinyl. And I really didn't know that there was that many options, to be perfectly honest. It was just what I have done. And so if there's another model or something like that, I understand the questioning, and believe me, I don't think there's anybody that questions my commitment to downtown. I don't want to do anything wrong. But the process is somewhat broken, not Carla. She's been a pleasure to work with. But when you come in, you get turned down, you just get a letter, but no, help me work through this. Help me understand the type of windows or something that I need. You're going to have much happier people and probably more successful in working. I know how to use Google, and I spent more than 5 minutes, if you've read the article. Welcome back, Mark. And when I opened the page 5, I'm like, oh God, it's on the top. It's on the top of that.
Joe, I don't think our system is broken at all. It's on the onus of the homeowner to figure out what the rules are. And I know if they call City Hall, they're going to get Carla, and she's going to help them. So as far as us having a bigger notification when something's turned down, that would have to come. I don't know. I don't think it's broken.
I think this is one of those, and as we've started and had the first meeting, this is one of those in the guidelines, because I've worked with Joe and Carla on this also, just because of windows. And this is one of them that's kind of in between the cracks. To go with what the Heritage Commission says that you have to do according to this would not be much different. Replacing it with a current style casement window would not be really much different than replacing it with a vinyl window, because you're still not accomplishing what the guideline is really intended for. So it's one of those things that is in one of those cracks that we've got to fix. And I think that's the part that's broke. And that's where we're at. And this is just one of those things that's got to be fixed.
But I don't think now's the time to fix that tonight.
Probably not.
Well, no, but I think you've got the ability to fix it. I don't know that obviously I think the Heritage Commission was going strictly by their guidelines like they're supposed to do, but you've got the ability to maybe look at it in a little bit different light, and that's what we got to get fixed.
I'd just jump right out there. The the vinyl siding on the building now, it's the blue building at 282 Market, and not to be allowed to put in vinyl windows. And I firmly believe in protecting our history and our culture. But this is like no big deal at all to me. Put your windows in, life goes on. If it was, a log structure, obviously, we would vote with the Heritage Commission, and they are doing their job. We have the opportunity to look at it more from a human factor, instead of just by the book. So I absolutely no problem.
I have no problem.
Motion to approve.
I have no problem whatsoever.
Second floor.
They're all on the second floor.
And half of them are in the back where you can't even, they're not
Right,
even
that's what I was
visible.
thinking when I looked at it.
I always have a real problem telling people no when they're trying to improve their property. And they're trying to do the right thing for the downtown area. So, Tom, you made the motion to...
I made the motion.
Joe seconded it.
Joe seconded it. Now we're ready to get with it.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks. Okay, any other business? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
No,
Closed
we have a
session?
real short closed session to talk about litigation.
Motion to move into closed session.
It's always up to you.
I know it is. that's what-
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Would you sign these, Frank, please?